Today on Locked On Canadiens, it's the Habs mailbag, and you sickos came up with some great questions. Which Habs trade would we take back? What is an all bad vibes historic Habs team? And more.
You are Locked On Canadiens, your daily podcast on the Montreal Canadiens. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Locked On Canadiens. It is the Friday Habs mailbag, and we can't get to dive right into it. We can't wait to dive right into it. You asked so many amazing questions, a lot of food for thought. My name is Laura Saba. His name is Ian Boisvert, and we're going to get right to the mailbag. But first, I do have to say we're sorry we did not have an episode yesterday. We will try and make up for it by giving you a bonus episode. We're going to start real quick with a question from, I'm going to say, oh, wait, sorry, Ian. I didn't even give you a chance to talk at all.
We're good. We're flying. Just go. Just go. Just drive, Laura.
There's so many questions, Ian. This comes to us from Instagram. Mark L asks us, what realistic trades, Habs trades, would you make? Now, that is a wide question. So I'm going to narrow it down and say, like, this year, like this offseason.
I think at the top of the realism chain right now is the impending Brendan Gallagher trade. It could happen at any time, really. We're waiting. I know Pierre LeBrun pointed out that Montreal and Vancouver are working on something. They're cooking something up. Interested to see like why if that's the destination, what is there to work out other than is there even a return? No, yes, okay, go. So I wonder what's truly happening in that situation. But really,
maybe
like that's
money.
Maybe the money, maybe they're retaining something. Maybe there's something bigger involved. We know that Vancouver also in that same Pierre LeBrun posting or hit, I believe, on a podcast, he also pointed out that the Canucks are open for business, that they're looking into moving a bunch of stuff. Maybe there's a chance that Montreal gets involved there. I like Brock Besser a lot. That's a really fun player. Is he a centerman? No. But I think that's the other part too. We make a bit of it, right, with 2C or not 2C. There's other holes on this team than center. There's other ways they can improve this team without adding a center.
Yeah.
Of course they need one, but they need lots of stuff. They did not win a Stanley Cup. They need stuff.
Yes.
So for me, if you're going realistic, it's a Gallagher trade. And you do it because it's the right thing to do for that player.
Yes, absolutely. I wonder also, like, let's do like a hypothetical. What's a realistic RD they can get? Let's say they're not sold on Reinbacher or he's not ready. What is a realistic RD that you think they can get?
I don't know how realistic this is, but I do find it interesting that John Carlson is leaving the Ducks. He wants to play on the East Coast. I imagine he wants to play in the States. I imagine he wants to play where he's from, which is around Philadelphia. I believe he's a Southern Jersey kid. I'm curious about that, but I really like guys who have right defensemen aren't trading them. They're not moving them. It's the same way with centers. Like you have to find a distressed asset to be able to pry one of those pieces, or you just say, you know what, we'll just ride with Reinbacher, see what happens.
Yeah.
I don't want them to go anywhere near Darren Radish. He's going to want too much for too long.
Oh, the Leafs are clearing cap space for him.
Love it. Love that for them. This is Mike Komisarek 2.0.
They need to pay like $11.5 million to Darren Radish, I think, for like 6 or 7 years.
I agree.
Yeah.
And a full no trade, no move. Can't waive him, can't do nothing. Yeah.
All right. So we've got another question that is somewhat related, and this comes to us from our friend Julian M. What historic Montreal Canadiens trade would you take back? When I say historic, I just mean it existed in the past.
Yeah. Well, you go first. What are you taking back?
Well, I said it was going to be the Patrick Roy trade, and specifically not the Roy trade, but like the act of creating the conditions that necessitated the Roy trade, because I feel like that was, sort of like the beginning of 2 decades of mediocrity, right? Yeah. And like sometimes being just like a black hole of suck. So like I feel like that was the turning point. And later on we're going to talk about some bad vibes, front offices and teams and stuff. So we'll get into that, but that was the trade that I would take back. But you had like sort of like a domino effect one, a butterfly effect one. I don't know what you
Yeah. a ripple effect one for sure. Like I look at the McDonough for Gomez trade because I look at the McDonough for Gomez trade and I see you don't make that trade. You keep McDonough. Maybe you don't get a centerman, but maybe you don't get that 2010 run either because people hate to mention that Scott Gomez was a pretty big part of that run. He was. Every player on that team was. They needed everybody to get to that point. But you take that trade back, all of a sudden you have a built-in partner for PK Subban forever. McDonough Subban would have won championships. Like especially in front of Carey Price, championships. They would have been set. That's a 30-minute a night defense pair that most teams in the league would not be able to touch. Even if you still wanted to make the Subban trade, okay, now you have Weber McDonough. That still rules. I'm cool with that. It also means that maybe you don't draft Mikhail Sergachev in 2016. It means maybe you're open to trading that pick. Now they were trying to trade for the 4th overall pick in that year's draft because they were trying to get Pierre-Luc Dubois,
who went 3rd.
Who ended up going 3rd. In Columbus, I was there in the building when Columbus picked him instead of Puljujarvi. Everyone kind of lost their minds. It was at the time that was kind of off the board. Now we look back on it and we go, that's really funny. We shouldn't have cared that much about that moment. But to me, like you take back that McDonough trade and so many ripples in Canadiens history change, right? Like, at when then they trade, they trade Sergachev. So let's say you don't take Sergachev there. Victor Mete has to be Shea Weber's partner. Like that doesn't have to happen. Maybe they bring him along in a way that's better and he develops into an NHL player. Maybe there's a bunch of different stops along the way that change. I think that trade was so monumental and it was such a mistake for the Canadiens that if you undid that, so many other doors open up for them along the way.
Yeah, and I kind of want to address real quick that the 2010 run doesn't happen or things like, 2014, etc. don't happen. And I think the thing is like the goal is to build a contender. The goal is not to build a team that can make the playoffs and anything can happen, right? We saw the anything can happen. We saw it in 2010. We saw it to an even greater extent in 2021. We still don't have a Stanley Cup in this city. It's been, I can't do math. Is it 33 years now since the last one?
Yeah.
So I personally feel that the goal should always be to stack your team and build it for the future. And I want to compare it a little bit to, Colorado. Colorado went through a long period of time where they kept going out in the second round. Nathan MacKinnon was really grumpy about it, right? But they had a plan and they're still good, right? We're seeing them exiting the playoffs earlier than expected, but it's like they're still a good team. They're an objectively good team, one of the best teams in the league, and consistently one of the best teams in their conference, right? And It's similar to the Carolina Hurricanes. Like it did take them a very long time to get to win a Stanley Cup, even though people have been predicting it for a very long time. But again, like the goal is to build a Carolina Hurricanes that every year people are like, that's going to be their year because it makes sense, because they're built well, because they have good coaching, right? So the goal is never to just make the playoffs. And that's what that era ushered in.
Yeah. And going back to that, like, you mentioned the goal is to have a plan for these teams to have a plan. Trading a former first round pick in Ryan McDonough for 30-year-old Scott Gomez is not a plan. And adding to that, and adding Chris Higgins to that, who went on to he still had a pretty decent career after that. Like was, they kind of just added him in. Who did Montreal get in that trade? Tom Pyatt and Scott Gomez, but also Tom Pyatt, who was not. I always laugh because Andrew Berkshire brings up a point about Tom Pyatt whenever we're remembering guys together, about how the at the end of the year the Canadiens would build like all these highlight packages for their players. And they just didn't have enough for Tom Pyatt. So one of the clips in there was him just beating an icing call. Like it is the most Tom Pyatt memory I have. It's one of the funniest things.
Somewhat heartbreaking, I have to say. And so the point that I was also like hoping to get to, even though I rambled on and just took us way off course, is that this front office seems to understand that, right? Because why did they get Scott Gomez? Because everyone was talking about how the Montreal Canadiens needed a center. They needed a center. And that's like, so Bob Gainey went out and got a center. And
Right.
that was right.
Yeah, and the thing about that too is feeding the beast never works well
It does not
because
win.
they traded for him, right? And then what did they all say? Oh, they're too small up front.
Yeah.
But we got the center. Like,
Yeah.
what do you and like
But
Scott
then Mark
Gomez wasn't
Bergevin comes along and then puts
right.
on big guys because the Habs
Right.
are too small. Did that work? No.
No. And then
No.
the argument became, yeah, but none of them speak French, you guys. Like, as long as you let the media run your team, you'll never have a direction. That's why the guys that they have in charge now,
Yeah.
they march to the beat of their own drum. They don't care what anybody else says. They believe in the vision they have, and they're going to see it through to the end, for better or worse. Right now, I'm leaning on better.
Yeah. And we are a very lucky fan base to have it. All right, we're going to leave that there. And we've got plenty more mailbag questions coming up from you guys. And that's happening in just one moment here on Locked On Canadiens. This episode is brought to you by Kalshi. The World Cup is here, and it's the most electric time in soccer. It truly is. The entire world is watching. And on Kalshi, you can trade every single match as well as the championship game. Right now, the USA is trading at 57% to beat Australia, meaning a $100 trade pays out $170 if they win. As the World Cup heats up, those numbers will move in real time, and you can buy in or out at any time. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use code LOCKEDON to get $10 when you trade 10. That's code locked on Kalshi. 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 Trade on anything. This episode is also brought to you by Rougier. Throughout the NHL playoffs, we saw that every shift matters, every moment is intense, and everything comes down to execution when the pressure is at its highest. We talked about that. The Habs failed to execute on their game plan against the Carolina Hurricanes. And just like athletes must be ready to perform when the puck drops, a lot of guys want that same sense of readiness and confidence in their own lives too. That's where Rougier comes in. Rougier offers modern, performance-focused treatments designed to help you be ready when it matters. Their top option, Rougier Ready, is a fast-acting, clinically formulated treatment that comes in a simple mint that dissolves under your tongue. It's designed for convenience with a fast absorption and effects that can begin in about 15 minutes and may last up to 36 hours. They also offer Go Long, which is formulated to support both performance and control for longer lasting needs. It's all about helping guys feel prepared, confident, and in control. In the playoffs, readiness isn't optional, it's everything. And for a lot of guys, that idea of being ready at the right moment carries over into everyday life too. That's exactly what Rougier is built around. What stands out to me is not having to plan everything around timing. Something that works quickly and is easy to take really changes the mindset. It's more about confidence and being present in the moment. Head to rougier.com/lockedonnhl and get 15% off your ED treatment. That's RUGIET.com/lockedonnhl for 15% off. Rougier, performance medicine for men. And I just want to remind everybody that our Everydayer Club is built for you. If you're sick of hearing these ads and you listen to us every day, check out lockedoncanadiens.supercast.com or check the link in your show notes. There's a 7-day free trial as well. All right, Ian, are you ready for some more mailbag questions?
Let's do it.
We had a couple people ask us this, actually. Well, I'm going to start with, this is in reference to the NHL sort of clearing Babcock to be hired and the Edmonton Oilers doing it. Our good friend Jalen asked, what are they doing? Why will they proceed with this? And then Mark C and I had a conversation that wasn't really a mailbag question, but the thoughts on the Oilers doing this. And then our good friend Kay asked us, what does the NHLPA actually do? So I did want to talk about that very briefly. And, we're talking a lot about like this is player driven, et cetera, et cetera. It was the leaders on the team. It was McDavid, Draisaitl, Zach Hyman. Now, Zach Hyman had a very good experience with Mike Babcock in Toronto, or I'm assuming it was a good experience if he's on board with this. But Zach Hyman is the kind of guy that Mike Babcock likes. He works hard and does not talk back. He has very little personality. And I don't mean that off the ice. I just mean on the ice. He just does what he's told and he does his job. He puts his head down and works, right? He has no individuality really. So it's not surprising to me that a guy like Zach Hyman would have positive things to say about Mike Babcock or positive feelings about this hire. I also want to say, like, these guys are desperate, right? Like, these guys really want to win. They're in their prime. They're really good players. They know it's not forever, and they've come close so many times. They're really desperate to win. But that said, like, I don't understand. I don't understand. You hear all these stories of, like, there's people telling their agents they don't want to play in Edmonton, right?
Yeah. When was the last time Mike Babcock won a playoff series, Laura?
I honestly don't know, but it's got to be like with Detroit.
I was in high school. I'm 30 years old now, for what it's worth.
Wow.
It was 2013. So you've effectively alienated your entire fan base. Nobody wants this. You've put the spotlight on you guys in a way that it just didn't need to be. And for what? Like, I think that's the part I'm struggling with the most, because, like, I'm not naive. Hockey is not full of awesome dudes. There's lots of awesome dudes in it, right? The NHL, I'll say. But it's not 100% cool guy. It's just not. I know that. It's
a bunch of rich jocks.
For sure. There are concessions you have to make from time to time. There are guys in this league that have done things we don't know about. And we kind of just have to, I don't know, live with that uncertainty. We know what Mike Babcock's all about. We know what he did to Johan Franzen in Detroit. We know that, according to Andy Strickland, what he may or may not have done to Patrick Laine in his very brief stint in Columbus. We know what he did to Mitch Marner. We know.
There was someone else was talking about it. I think it was Winnick earlier today. Was on some radio or something like that.
He's the only coach who made me hate hockey.
Right.
That we know all about this guy. This idea, like, the Oilers are gonna trot him out next week in a press release and talk about how changed he is and how rehabilitated and how much better everything is now. And I urge none of you to believe a second of it.
No.
And none of you will. Like, hockey fans are not stupid. Like, what I find so frustrating about all of this is just how the Oilers are making this decision, being led by another guy who should not have been given a second chance in Stan Bowman, and throwing another second chance at this guy who doesn't deserve a second chance. In fact, this is what, chance 3, 4, 5?
Yeah.
Like, and for what? He hasn't won a playoff series since Nick Lidstrom was playing hockey, you guys. For what? Like, there's no benefit to this other than to say, we think we're smarter than you. That's the whole gambit.
It's going to work this time.
It's going to work. Just one more coach, bro. Just one more coach. No, it's not going to work. I think that this has become a destination players are going to not want to come to. You know, like, every player, their no trade list is, like, usually it's 7 teams. It's all 6 Canadian teams in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Now it's Edmonton 7 times.
Yeah.
Where, like, I don't understand what the Oilers are thinking. I think they have fully lost their minds. And this is why you don't let players make this decision. This is why you consult them for sure. But if this was their harebrained scheme, you laugh them out of the room and you say, that's not your job. You don't do this.
Yeah.
Because, like, here's the thing. We don't know how long Babcock is going to sign for. If this doesn't work, like, who can Connor McDavid blame this time for not winning? This was your idea, dude. Figure it out. Leon, Zach, figure it out.
Yeah.
Like there's no sympathy left for these guys. And like, immediately all of like so much of their social credit has gone down because of this. Like nobody is like, oh, well, you know, let's see it from their perspective. Nobody cares.
No.
It's such an unforced, stupid mistake.
And it's this thing where, like, I think about Oilers fans, right? And how many wasted first round picks number one overall picks they saw, how long they've been waiting for another Stanley Cup in the city, how much they've watched Connor McDavid, like, just be an amazing player and not get a cup. And they're all mad about this. Like, they don't want this. They don't think that this is going to get them a Stanley Cup. And I have to agree, right? And again, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes in Montreal, but to a man, all of the players trust Marty, right? They trust Marty. And I feel like Mike Babcock is the kind of guy who not only you don't trust, but also like is going to bully you. I mean, we have the evidence in the form of players speaking out about it. So
we know.
The
last thing I want to say on this, if you think what's wrong with the Edmonton Oilers has been coaching, I don't know what to tell you. How about it's their best defenseman plays the puck like it's an active hand grenade in his own zone? How about the fact that they've gone through 9 goalies in the past few years? Their issues are not the guy behind the bench, which is why like it's a pretty easy gambit to be like, he's probably not going to fix any of this. Is he going to stop pucks for you too? Is he going to teach? Evan Bouchard being coached by Mike Babcock might be the funniest thing. Might be the funniest outcome because I don't know that he's going to be able to play that hockey player. He's going to lose his mind, and you'll see just how bad the Oilers are without one of their most polarizing players in Evan Bouchard.
Let's take bets into where Evan Bouchard ends up next year. He's going to get traded to the Islanders.
That's a fun outcome for him.
Yeah. Islanders.
I don't hate the Islanders. I kind of think it would be funny for him to end up on one of those big teams like Vegas or Florida or somewhere like where he just like, I just want to go win a cup. Yeah. And leaving Edmonton to do that would be really funny.
And then then that team wins the cup, and then the players lose their minds again, and then this time they try to get, I don't know.
Then they clone Stan Bowman and hire him again.
Yeah.
What a joke.
Yes. All right. We have plenty more. We got really passionate about this topic. We really care about mental health. So
screw that guy.
Really important. All right. Up next, we have more of your mailbag questions that I feel like we might run out of time again. And that's coming up in just a moment. This episode is also brought to you by Decagon. As companies grow, customer support gets a lot more complicated. More customers means more questions, more channels to manage, and higher expectations for fast, personalized service. That's usually when businesses start looking at AI. Most solutions either feel too generic or take forever to implement. That's where Decagon comes in. Decagon helps companies create personalized, concierge-style customer experiences with AI agents across chat, email, voice, and SMS. Their agents are available 24/7, feel natural to talk to, and can resolve customer requests on their own, helping businesses scale support without losing that personal touch. The best customer experiences don't happen by accident. Whether it's in business or sports, people remember organizations that respond quickly, understand context, and make every interaction feel personal. For me, like I have a lot of loyalty to certain travel, like airlines and stuff like that, because I travel a lot. And one thing I always notice about the organizations that earn my long-term loyalty is that they never make you feel like just another number. Whether it's a quick response or a personalized interaction, these experiences stick with you and keep you coming back. And that's what stands out to me about Decagon. Their AI helps companies deliver that same personalized experience even as they scale. Ready to transform your customer support? Go to decagon.ai/lockedonnhl to get a personalized demo and see what Decagon can do for your team. That's decagon.ai/lockedonnhl. This episode is also brought to you by Game Time. There are more live events than ever that are worth seeing right now, whether it's games, concerts, comedy shows, festivals. The hard part usually isn't deciding what you want to attend. It's actually getting the tickets. Between long wait times, confusing checkout processes, and surprise fees, buying tickets can sometimes feel harder than it should. And that's why so many fans are turning to Game Time. The app is built to make buying tickets simple with upfront pricing, seat views before you buy, and exclusive savings opportunities that help you get to the events you want without the usual hassle. And here on Locked On Canadiens, we have made no secret of the fact that we use Game Time for all our game attending needs. We go to NHL games together. We call them Friends Weekends, and we always always use Game Time. And really, there's something just, so good about watching games live together. And for me, I think the biggest thing is the no hidden fees. For you, the group, it's usually also, where are we going to be sitting? Like, we can see the view from before we buy, so we'll know. And we always have successful friend weekends because Game Time makes it so easy to get tickets to the hockey games we want to go to. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets to every type of event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the Game Time app, create an account, and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. I almost kicked myself out of this chat, out of this recording, which is great. All right, we've got a couple more questions.
Can I stop you really quickly before our next question?
Did something happen?
Just not really. Kevin Weeks is reporting. Per sources, I'm told Anaheim Ducks captain Radko Gudas is gaining interest in the marketplace. If him and Ducks can't get a deal done, Panthers and Maple Leafs are among potential fits. He's a physical, experienced, playoff tested on a 2 to 3 year term between $3.5 to $4 million AAV. Are you interested in Radko Gudas on the Montreal Canadiens?
No, I am not.
Why not?
I don't show your work. My work is that he's constantly decapitating people.
Yeah, here's the thing though, like it kind of works now. Like that's kind of how you win now, is by being a jerk. Not that the Hurricanes are an example of that, but like every other team in recent memory that's won has been an example of that. I think the idea of a Radko Gudas Arbor Xhekaj third pairing is very funny to me, but that would essentially mean like you're not playing Reinbacher. He's going back to the AHL. Like I wanted to bring it up because I thought it was a funny. Maybe this is something that gets done, but like if you're doing that, maybe you trade Carrier. I don't know. There's a lot to be interested in that, but it seems like a lot of guys are going to test the market.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were like, we want to be good. Like we don't want to play on crap teams anymore. How old is Radko Gudas?
He's 36. So I get it. But also, it'd be kind of funny. I'm thinking of strictly he can't decapitate us if he's on our team. You think of it that way?
I'm thinking like Ottawa would die for this guy.
Exactly. That's why they can't have him. We have to get him.
All right. It's another question from Jalen. With Price's contract being done, does he get his number retired, or maybe does he get in the Ring of Honor because he did everything short of a cup? As you're asking this, Jalen, I believe the Hall of Fame announcements are due Monday.
Correct. Yep. So
we'll find out if he got in this time.
Yep.
I do think he gets Ring of Honor. I don't know that they retire people andianymore. They retire jersey numbers anymore.
I think they'll retire 31.
You think they'll retire?
Yeah,
I think it would be amazing.
I think for me, like the issue is, could you stomach another player wearing that number?
Absolutely not.
And I don't think I can. Right? Like as much like 11 with Saku.
Yeah.
We've seen players wear it since then. And it's weird. But now it's going to be weird seeing someone wear 11 that's not Brendan Gallagher.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't think we would have, if somebody wore 31, we'd be like, this is weird. Don't wear that. That's my completely unscientific reasoning behind retire that number.
I agree. But I don't think they do that anymore. That's the thing.
Maybe.
And to his credit, Carey Price always said, I don't care if my number's up there. I want the cup. I want the banner. The Stanley Cup banner.
Well,
he didn't get
beggars can't be choosers, I suppose.
That seems mean. All right.
That is mean, but that's the world we live in, man. We live in a very mean world.
Yes. All right. We're going a little long on this episode now.
That's whatever, dude. Who cares?
This comes from our good friend Danny Joe. If the Habs were in the Sens place and got the Carolina Hurricanes in round 1, do they get past round 1?
Montreal? No, I don't think so.
This Canes team was special.
Yeah, I don't think they're getting past them. I think the main reason the Canadiens won that first game is because Carolina sat out for 8.5 months. Like they would be coming in fresh off the end of the regular season. It might have been a sweep. Like if we're being realistic, to me, I think that's where, because look at Ottawa. Ottawa in that series, they had fantastic goaltending and they couldn't score. And that's sort of what happened with the Canadiens in that it was the same thing. Like they scored a little bit more than Ottawa, I think, but they didn't. Actually, I think in game 1, Montreal matched Ottawa's goal total and Philly's goal total against Carolina.
Yeah.
It's just the rest of that series was just tough.
Now, this is going to become a meme, but Spencer, I promise you I'm not forgetting you this time. So Spencer, Adam, you, and Zoo, we do have your email questions, and we are going to do them on Monday. Or Sunday or Tuesday if like a major trade or something happens over the weekend, because we just simply do not have time and your questions are very meaty. So we're very excited to talk about them next week, but we have 2 more questions. One comes from our good friend Andy, who always asks us like really fun questions. Spider-Man is coming out soon. Which players would be which superheroes?
I will admit that I am a superhero agnostic. It is not a reality that I live in.
But like if I said like Hulk, you would know who that is.
Yeah.
Superman.
I'm not a troglodyte. Like I know these sorts of things. Like I get that. Like that would Arbor Xhekaj is the Incredible Hulk. We did.
Yes, we knew that.
Yeah.
Okay.
What else do you have?
Captain America.
Lane, right? He's probably maybe I know a little bit more about this. He was Captain America before he got like the super juice injected into him.
He actually like he looks like that, like the CGI'd version of Chris Evans. That's like the wimpy shrimpy. He looks like that.
You brought a doctor's note to the draft. It's fine.
Okay, this one is an interesting one. Who's like Tony Stark? Playboy, what was it? Something Playboy, something philanthropist. Billionaire, something.
Jeff Molson. I don't think that's fun though.
No, it's
that's
not
just
fun.
Real. That's just kind of how it works.
Is there someone on the Habs that has that aura? Not really.
No, they don't. They don't have the big soccer tournament is happening right now.
Yeah.
They don't have a Zlatan, right? They don't have an Ibrahimovic. That would be the Tony Stark type player. They don't really. Hockey doesn't really make those guys. Yeah. Soccer makes lots of those guys. They love making guys like that. We don't really get those kinds of guys. I do like Cole Caulfield as Tom Holland Spider-Man. I think that's too bang on of a pick.
They kind of like look like each other. I was gonna say Superman. Hear me out. Ivan Demidov.
Sure, why not?
I really like that. But then I don't know like Batman and stuff. Like I'm not like very much a DC person.
Yeah. I don't know that they have a Batman either. There's no like they don't have like a gruff veteran. Like, can I be honest? If Radko Gudas was here, that's like a Batman type guy.
I was gonna say if Radko Gudas was here, he'd be Thanos.
Yeah, for sure. That's also great. Yeah. Look, we already did him, which means he's gonna be on the team. He's gonna drive Laura nuts. This team got too chummy. We need to get some guys we hate.
Oh my god. But the vibes were so good. Why would you mess with that?
They can be good.
Yeah. It's like when
Corey Perry screamed in that Leafs goalie's face. That was awesome.
Yeah, like it's gonna be like when Corey Perry was here and like it was tough. I was very morally torn. All right, our last question comes from our close personal friend Jake. Have we all become too obsessed with the idea that every cup contending team needs a superstar acquisition? Why can't Montreal's current core grow into a team of superstars in 3 to 4 years instead of sacrificing critical pieces to import one?
I think just history has proven that not necessarily trade deadline deals, but that these teams do go out and make big swings, right? Like you look at Carolina. Now, did they whiff on they whiffed a couple times. They whiffed on Jake Gensel, but they didn't spend too much and they were able to recoup their assets later on. And then they take a big swing for Mikko Rantanen, and it doesn't work out, but they pivot, and they get a bunch of pieces, and Logan Stankoven, who helps them now, he led the playoffs in goals. You look at Florida. What else needs to be said? They went out and they got Matthew Tkachuk. They made the trade for Brad Marchand the last time they won the Cup. Vegas before them, Jack Eichel, right? Like, there are examples of these of teams making these big swings and then paying off. That being said, that trade doesn't have to happen now. It'd be nice if they found somebody that could fill that role now, but I think the reason there's an emphasis on it is because it's a copycat league, and these teams have done it. I will say Montreal is closer now than Florida was before they made the Matthew Tkachuk trade, right? Like, I think that's a fair. They got much further than Florida did pre Matthew Tkachuk in the Jonathan Huberdeau era. But the right player has to become available, and they have to want to come to Montreal. That was all of those examples are examples of it working or not working. Matthew Tkachuk wanted to go to Florida. Well, here you go. Come on over. Jack Eichel wanted to go to Vegas.
Yeah.
Come on over. Mikko Rantanen didn't want to go to Carolina. And thankfully, Carolina had smart people in charge, and they were able to pivot. And they made a really smart, savvy play to decide, you know what? This isn't going to work. We have to make a move now. And they ultimately came. I mean, who won that deal? I think Carolina won both Mikko Rantanen trades, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
So I think that's why there's an emphasis on it, because it does work. Doesn't mean that like every team that acquires one of these guys wins, but all the teams that win have acquired these guys.
Right. And I do want to go back to the to Carolina real quick. Is that I was looking at the Carolina roster. Were any of these guys finalists for any of the awards? Were any of these guys? I think like the Conn Smythe is the only hardware they have.
Yeah. And
right?
The one that matters.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah. So when you look at that, and it's which is not to say they don't have elite players. Like, they have elite guys, but they got the biggest name that was available on the market. Like Rantanen, hands down was the biggest name, right? That didn't work out. They got names that maybe weren't the biggest names on the market, but fit exactly what they needed. And so if the Montreal Canadiens miss out on Nico Hischier, which they haven't signed yet. I don't know. Kevin Weeks said it was imminent or something like that. He was talking about it, and then I haven't seen a signature anywhere.
He can't. I don't think he can sign an extension. I think he has a year left, 1st? So he can't sign it until July 1st. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the because I was like, what happened with that, right? Is he staying in New Jersey or not? But yeah, if he's not available, the Montreal Canadiens might not get him, but that doesn't mean they're not going to get a guy who's going to be able to bring out the best in Ivan Demidov, and maybe a winger upgrade too. Sorry, Alex Newhook, I love you, but
that's our second line center in that case. Alex Newhook is our second line center if they don't find one.
Exactly.
Let's come to peace with it. That's what's happening.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. They get a small upgrade on wing, but a significant upgrade in center, and then you have two top lines that are competent, and then Alex Newhook on the third line. That's a luxury.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Anyways,
for sure.
I went off on this tangent.
Okay.
But I kind of agree with both of you there. I agree with what Jake is saying. We shouldn't just focus on getting just the biggest name, the most elite superstar. But I also think that there's proven examples of it working.
It has to be the right guy. And I think that's what, if you were to ask Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton, they would say the same thing. It has to be the right player. We have all these assets. They're ready to start trading them out. We saw it in the Matthew Knies, projected deal. Yeah. They're ready to start doing it. They haven't found the right guy outside of Matthew Knies, and then Brad Treliving ruined it all. It's fine. Did we want to do the bad vibes team before we go?
That's what I wanted to leave. Yeah. So this wasn't really a mailbag question as much as Scott challenged us.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know Scott, RIP, he's our previous co-host.
He's not dead. Why don't do that?
I just wanted to make him laugh as he's listening to this. All right. He challenged us to create a bad vibes team, including front office.
Including front office, let's start there. I think we agreed on general manager. Pierre Gauthier.
Yeah, it's Gauthier. Yeah.
He took away the cookies on the team plane. He traded Mike Camilleri mid-game and didn't let him have his jersey. Just a rotten dude. And it's kind of, where did he show up after Montreal? Oh, that's right. Nowhere? Cool. Awesome. Yeah. That's great. We love that.
The only correct thing he did was keep Price instead of Halak.
Was that him?
I believe so.
Oh yeah, it must have been him. I don't know why I ascribed that to Gainey. It definitely wasn't Gainey who did that.
Gainey loved Price. He like loved.
I mean,
Price.
he traded Huey to give him room, right? To give him the net. That's why I was retconning those two things. Let's go to the bench. Who do you have behind the bench? I think we picked two different names for both. I think entirely valid reasons.
Mine is Michel Therrien. I know it's recency bias, but oh my god.
Yeah, for me it's Mario Tremblay. He was behind the bench when Patrick Waugh decided he was not playing for the Montreal Canadiens anymore, and it was Mario Tremblay's fault. So Mario Tremblay wins there. We had a hard time picking a goalie.
Yeah,
because goalies are like just generally good vibes. I think maybe I kept going down this rabbit hole of guys who it was bad vibes and it wasn't necessarily their fault. Jocelyn Thibault kind of is that guy, right? Yeah. He was the one after Patrick Waugh, and that's why I always felt for Sam Montembeault, he was the guy that followed up Carey Price. So I think it would be Thibault. I don't think there's another option.
Not really, no.
Yeah.
Then on forwards.
Defense. Do you have any defenders?
I mean, there were people that I really didn't like at the time, but I feel bad about bullying.
I'll throw one in there. James Wisniewski has rotten vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Just Google James Wisniewski suspension.
Yeah.
Maybe make sure there aren't any kids around when you do that. That's really the one. I can't think of another. I'm having a hard time anyway finding another defenseman who had rancid vibes. Maybe Greg Patterin for some off-ice stuff that was taking place.
Yes.
Maybe Ryan O'Byrne for some off-ice and on-ice stuff
that was taking place. Oh, well, then the forwards then would be the Kositsin brothers for some off-ice stuff that was taking place.
What? You have a slight connection to the mafia and everything's off the table.
Yeah.
I would throw Andrew Shaw in that mix of a bad vibe player. Just
how many times did he get caught using homophobic slurs with the camera right on him?
I think he ate garbage. I don't understand. I never understood that. They brought him in as a character guy. That was the character era for Marc Bergevin.
Yeah.
Really tough.
It was basically every guy who was accused of homophobia, racism, or sexual assault. That was Marc Bergevin's characters.
Yeah. Fun. That was not a fun time for this.
Yeah.
This organization. Completely different vibe, but bad vibe still. I'll throw Mike Hoffman up there at forward.
Yeah.
It was so obvious he was just chasing a paycheck in those last few years. It was brutal. And they were like, oh, I was there at that game in New Jersey where he hadn't scored in 10 games or something. It was brutal for somebody who should have been scoring a lot more. And he has a breakaway in overtime and he hits the post and celebrates like he scored, and the puck hits the other post and comes out. And all he had to do was follow the puck to the net and he would have tapped it into the empty net. And the Canadiens lost that game in a shootout. So Mike Hoffman, for a very personal example.
Yeah. And I feel like Max Doby too, because he had some views that obviously were upsetting to the fan base, and then they were like, okay, well now you're our ambassador for hockey's for everyone.
Yeah.
And I hated that whole act of doing that.
Yeah, and it was so it was when he was a Canadian, he just being honest, he was a model Montreal Canadian.
Yes.
He loved wearing that jersey. It meant a lot to him. He said he said being in Montreal was way different than Toronto, and it's just a better environment for hockey. I enjoyed that aspect of it. Seeing Ty in a Canadiens jersey was weird. The vibes were weird. But I mean, it got us Josh Anderson in the end, so who can complain?
Exactly. Love Josh Anderson. All right, that's it for our mailbag today. But don't forget, if you emailed us your question to lockedoncanadians@gmail.com, we have not forgotten about you, Adam, Spencer, Zoo. Also really love that we have listeners in Poland, so that really made me happy. But we'll be talking about that stuff. And I know one of them is more of a comment than a question, but interesting discussion to have. That'll happen on our Monday episode, along with any big news that happens, like trades or something like that. And obviously, because it's silly season, Rumor Roundup is going to be back with a vengeance. We promise you at some point next week, probably on Tuesday, we're going to talk about draft prospects and stuff, because that's coming up. And so make sure you are subscribed to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube, as part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We want to make sure that you are following us on social media, Locked On Canadiens on TikTok, Instagram, and Blue Sky. And if you want to support us, tell your friends about us. Also, leave good reviews on Apple, Spotify, etc., etc. For those of you who are listening to watching us on YouTube, we're going to send you to the first ever National Locked On Podcast Network 24/7 sports channel. And for those of you who are on audio, check out Locked On NHL. They're going to be covering all kinds of storylines throughout the offseason. They cover literally the entire league. So make sure you catch that. We want to thank you so much for listening, and we will be back on Monday unless there's a trade.